Okay, so today I'm joined by some very special guests, Frank's Little Beauties. Would you like to introduce yourself, guys?
Yeah, who wants to go first?
Why don't you go first?
So I'm Josh. I'm the singer, and most of the songs I'm playing rhythm guitar, one track on bass.
Sweet. I don't have that much to say. I play bass for the rest of the songs where Josh doesn't play bass.
And he's the guitarist on one song as well.
That's right. Yeah.
I just play guitar. My name's Finn. I'm supposed to be lead guitar.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for joining. I was going to say me, us.
That's right. Yeah.
I just play guitar. My name's Finn. I'm supposed to be lead guitar.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for joining. I was going to say me, us. Pleasure to have you. I know you're busy, but yeah, really happy you could come and have a little chat. So, first of all, you guys only formed in the summer, right? So you haven't been together very long at all. Were you playing music before that together, or?
So yeah, so the three of us met at King's Guitar Society, and then which is a bit lame. Yeah, it was basically just a bunch of people with acoustic guitars in a circle, and then us being like, oh, we like blues music, let's go into another room and be very antisocial.
Yeah, and then I didn't see you guys for 3 years after that. So
yeah. So then Owen and I, we kind of continued playing when I came back to London, and we kind of formed another group that fell apart, and then with the drummer, we had found the drummer through kind of like, I guess it's like almost like Tinder but for bandmates. It was called like Find My Bandmate, but it turns out he also to be honest, when we first were talking to him, I thought he was going to be like a 40-year-old dude, because there was like no photo of him, and then he was like, yeah, here's like an album I recorded and like toured around Peru with, and it was like this like Peruvian like Latin jazz fusion album. So I was like, obviously like a 40-year-old man, but it turns out that started touring when he was like 9, and then it's kind of a crazy. He was also a first year Kings, and then so we kind of started a trio with him after I was playing in a different group with him as well. And Owen and Eduardo and I were like, okay, let's do a trio. And then it just like, it wasn't really feeling full. We were recording a lot of stuff where we were overdubbing lead parts. And then at Reading Festival, I ran into Finn. And I was just like, all right, we ended up spending like that weekend just like at Reading Festival hanging out together. And then that week we were like, okay, come jam. And they're like, okay, these songs sound so much more full with you there. So
it was pretty mad as well, because I knew Josh was here just because I followed you on Instagram. So I knew you were at Reading, and I was like, oh, I'll just go out in the morning because you were working there. And I thought I'll just loiter and see if I run into you. And I went to all the stages one by one and had a look around, and I didn't see him, and I was like, okay, well, this is ridiculous. There's no way I'm going to find him. So then I was just standing aimlessly near the introducing stage, looking at my phone, and then Josh spots me.
Well, because so I was covering it for a magazine, and so I was there kind of early in the morning shooting some acts, and so yeah, I think Finn kind of went around like trying to find me because the service was bad. And then yeah, I just like
I love that story. That's amazing. So glad you met up. So you played your first gig together at the Victoria in Dalston recently, is that right? And you've got your first headline show coming up at the Gunners Pub on the 28th, I believe.
yeah.
So obviously excited for that. I mean, first headline show must be pretty exciting.
Scary.
Yeah.
It feels scary now, knowing that you've just told us that the guy who's like the engineer for our first single, his band are going to be playing before us, and we happen to know they're actually really good.
They're really good. Yeah. veteran performers as well.
Something else, we've created a good little festival where we happen to be at the end of it.
Yeah.
So have you got plans for more shows after that? Or
So I think we've been talking to another band about doing a DJ night. I'm not sure how much I'm allowed to say that.
no, that's cool. But there's hopefully going to be more stuff for
So
people
yeah,
to look forward to.
in February, towards the end of February, we're gonna have a gig in Shoreditch, and then we'll have our first out of UK gig at the time.
Out of London, not out of UK.
Sorry, out of London. Yeah. I it basically just feels like another country. What's
So, can I ask you then, Frank's Little Beauties, where did the name come from? Are you huge fans of sunny Philadelphia, or?
I mean, I've never seen it. I know it is a reference to it, but
Yeah, so Owen and I are really big sitcom fanatics. So like the other day as we were like waiting for our single to like get sent our mix, we were like literally like hungover, just like sitting, like both of us lying in my bed watching Seinfeld, very romantic fan moment. But yeah, so it is an Always Sunny reference. And we like when we were thinking of names, like we were between a few of them, and yeah, we just felt like it fit our vibe. Like even if you don't know the show, kind of like it sounds fun, but also weird. Like it kind of fits with a punk band, but also at the same time not. And we're like kind of a punk band, but also at the same time probably wildly not. Like we're kind of glamorous a little bit. So
I was thinking all bands are pretty shit unless the band is any good. So you can just choose anything.
Yeah, the people would just be a misspelled Bugs name.
Fair enough. Right, am I okay to ask you then a random this is a part of the show where I pick a random emotion and a random place, and I ask for your basically your craziest story. So if I can, who has an embarrassing story from a restaurant? So do any of you have a really embarrassing story from a restaurant?
You must be on some terrible date.
It must be, yeah, it's probably me.
You're a serial dater.
I don't think it would be a date. I think it would be like throwing up at a restaurant. Well, when I was like younger, I like started choking on some spinach at a Thai food place, and and it was like my family's like favorite restaurant that we go to all the time.
Oh God.
Like started throwing up just like all over the table.
I thought you were gonna say, and spinach was my family's favorite vegetable.
We're in spinach, bro.
No, brilliant.
Yeah, so have any of you got a funny story about a train, like a train journey?
It's been pretty comfortable, to be honest.
No.
Well, to be fair, the first time we went to record our the single that's coming out this month, we all said, okay, well, we'll meet. I think it was like 8:30 or 9 or something. We're all going to meet on the platform for the train. I bought my ticket in advance. There early. I went there. I thought it was on my phone, and then I had to print it out. So I didn't have time to do that. So I just ran straight to the platform, didn't print my ticket out. And we're waiting at the platform, and the doors are opened, and it's just us three. Eduardo isn't there. I think it was with 4 seconds left. You see him sprinting up the stairs.
Yeah, he printed it.
Yeah, and he made it on. Yeah, he could not have cut it closer.
Yeah.
Oh, but he made it.
Yeah. That's Owen's right. Yeah.
Well, it's like me and Josh getting there like half an hour early, like checking our watches and like messages. And I'm like, like a minute to spare, and then everyone getting there for like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
That's the thing though, in all groups there has to be the polar opposites. There has to be someone who gets there an hour early who's already nervous, and somebody who turns up with 30 seconds, and they end up being mates, and that's just how
Eduardo
so,
Yeah.
So I had to listen to your single before. Can I talk a little bit about that? Is that okay?
Yeah.
I know it's not out yet, but wrote a few words about it. I won't read them word for word, but basically, obviously, I didn't really know what to expect from you guys. I knew you were like a rock band, and that was about it. I hadn't listened to anything that you'd done before, and I have to say, like, I was really taken aback by how outside of the lines the sound is, because it's really not like average rock at all, is it? It's like, I thought you sounded really mature, but in like a really casual and like informal way, which I thought was like so different, and like I thought that was like really cool.
Obviously, a silly one. So, and I also think that the sound is got a bit more unique because of Eric, the engineer. I think he's particularly good at that sort of. I think his band have a really distinct, quite weird sound, but it sounds really good.
Oh, cool.
So,
no, because like, you know, like people say like, oh, I'm in a rock band, and you listen and you already know, like, we can already guess what's coming, like, you know, a verse and a catchy-ish chorus and repeat, and okay, yeah, like it's okay. But I was really like, like when I listened to it, I was just like, wow, this is not what I was expecting. And I listened to it like 4 or 5 times, and I had it stuck in my head at work, and I was just like,
Oh,
it was just so,
so
yeah, it was just so not what I was expecting, but in a really good way. So I have some lyrics here, but I won't read them out because I know the song's not out yet. But I love how you used the sound effects. I know before you were talking about how much you love comedy shows, and you put in, you know, you'll be watching Frasier or The Big Bang, and it's just so, like, it's just in the background, you don't even really notice it. But how you used it, I thought was so clever, because it really makes it, you know, it's really effective how you've done it. Yeah, and I also just thought, yeah, lyrics were really edgy and definitely rock. I'm really excited for people to hear the song. So what was the
Yeah, I think,
inspiration behind it?
Yeah, I think so while writing, I do a lot of the lyrics, and while writing lyrics, it's kind of like the weird, like if I have a choice between a lyric that's like, okay, this rhymes, it makes sense, and like, but it's like kind of generic, or this is like really weird, I'd rather pick something that's like really weird. And I
That's so
think like
refreshing.
at the time, at the time I was watching a lot of like the Beatles Get Back documentary, and it was kind of like, it really informed like my, I mean, okay, that song I wouldn't be like, oh, it's Beatles, but the way that they kind of go into their songwriting, and it's like, you know, it's a 4-hour documentary that actually is much longer than 4 hours.
Like 8 hours.
Yes, 8 hours, yeah. Like it just shows them kind of like they go around, they go into the studio together and they just jam and like have fun, and like there are times where like, you know, you see like some of the greatest songs that they've ever written, like something, and it's like John Lennon's telling George Harrison like, oh, like if you don't know what to say, just be like, I like you like an apricot or something, like say anything random. And so like we kind of went into it, like Owen started playing this progression, and then I started playing the bass, and yeah, we just kind of we were just like jamming around, and we thought it was kind of funny.
Yeah, so it is supposed to be tongue in cheek though. Don't take the lyrics too seriously.
Like, I think so you said, Josh, like having that time to just mess around with it. I think that's where like a lot of the like sillier like aspects of the song when we recorded it came from, was just having like a second day in the studio after we'd recorded like guitar bass drums to just like mess around and put like glockenspiel on there and like all these like crazy percussion instruments. Like I think that that just like fleshed it out so much, I think.
So is that like gonna be the vibe with like future songs, or was that just like, were you just playing around with that one and then the rest might be a bit more serious?
Yeah, and of what we do, I think, because some of the stuff we have is a bit almost grungier, I think, especially live, and then some of it is basically just dad rock, like you're saying earlier. So yeah, I don't
Dad
know.
rock.
I think
I love that.
we'll figure out.
Yeah, I think that it also, when we play it live, it sounds like a lot more punk, like it has a very different energy. I think we're still figuring out our sound, but like I don't think that's a really bad thing at this point, because I think we all bring in, like, we have similar influences and things that we listen to, but we also all listen to different things and have like an equal part in like the songwriting. And yeah, it really does just feel like we're sitting down and really like crafting things together and like bringing in different parts and thinking things out. So like personally, I don't think that I want us to like get that much of like, this is our vibe, you know? Like I'd rather just be like, okay, well, like, let's bring weird musical elements together.
Right, so can I bring you then the joke round? So basically what happens is I just say a few really bad jokes and you just laugh or don't. What do you call a Monster Inc. dorky? Mike Mahowski. A bear walks into a bar and says, "Can I have a rum and Coke?" The bartender says, "Why the long pause?" The bear says, "I don't know, I was born with them." Okay. Why did the hipster burn his mouth? He drank coffee before it was cool.
Oh, that was really good. Yeah, I like that. I'm gonna steal that.
I don't always tell dad jokes, but when I do, he usually laughs. Okay. And the last one. Why do ducks have feathers? To hide their butt quacks. Okay, so I always try and break up the. I like a nice serious chat, but I always just try and break up with some random jokes and that. So well done, you completed the joke round.
That joke's dad rock.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Have you guys got any good jokes? No.
Oh, did you hear about the fire in the circus?
No.
It was intense.
With that level of banter on that screen.
Okay, so plans for the band for the rest of the year.
Working on those other two songs that we started late last year, didn't get a chance to finish.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've been recording some other songs. And I think, yeah, ultimate goal would be, if possible, to, you know, try and play. For me, I only recently, so I finished uni and then I went for about like 4 or 5 months unemployed. And I think during that, the only thing that kind of kept me going and positive was the band. And so I've been like, okay, pushing, and now we're like there, and it's feeling like, okay, like something's coming, and it feels really good. And so yeah, I'm trying to really push through that. I think we're all really excited for like the next steps.
Definitely.
Perfect. So that leads it in perfectly then. So you just mentioned 2 more singles that you're slowly working on. Do you see the idea as singles, like building it up, or do you want to try and get maybe like an album down the line? Where do you see that going?
Yeah, so I think the idea would be, we have one other track we really want to record and put out as another single, and then I think the plan would be to do some kind of an album. I don't think we've discussed it, and we're kind of, we don't want to go the EP route.
Yeah, I think like the way like recording this first single has gone, it's just shown like how just picky we are and like how much we want to like get things right. So I think if we were going to guess, I think it's probably going to be more of a gradual release of like one song at a time for now. I don't see us like putting out a ton of music in the very near future.
I just think there's a lot of, it's not necessarily coherent. If we did do an album of the songs that we currently have, there's you know, some of them are quite different to like this single. So I think probably if we were to do an album, we probably want a set of songs that sort of lead nicely into each other. And I think at the moment we've got quite a broad spread. So
Yeah.
Perfect.
Cool. Makes sense. So now we have if you're up for it, so quick fire questions. Ready? Okay, so they're not like horrible weird questions or anything. So a film that you could watch on repeat.
Oh, easy, School of Rock.
Cool. I like how fast and on the ball you were with that. And also I like your answer. Go-to meal deal, main. So like just the main bit.
The like, okay, so I'm in Tesco's and it's the
Mhm.
cheese trip, 3 different like cheese one. Yeah, that one rocks.
Cool. Also like your answer. Lose one item from a cooked breakfast. Like, you know, like an English breakfast, if you had to get rid of one item.
Get rid of baked beans.
You'd get rid of the beans.
Oh, sorry.
Weirdest present you've ever bought someone or received?
Well, I did buy someone flowers after like
That's not
meeting
too
them.
weird, is it?
When they went back to South Africa. I guess they might see this interview, but
Okay, moving on. Favorite pie filling?
Pie filling.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say blackberry and apple. Classic.
Sweet.
Nice. I would have said apple. Last gig you went to?
I think the last one I was at was ours, but before that it was Tummy Ache. Is it called Jaguar Shoes?
Yeah, dream bag Jaguar shoes.
Yeah, they're excellent.
Cool. Favorite place in Europe?
I think I'd go with Nice. It kind of just felt, and so I went when it was really cold in London, and I was able to just like walk around in like jeans and a t-shirt, be on the beach, but like
Is that
it
the
just
dream?
it felt like art. Well, actually, I don't really like the beach that much, so but I do like France. I was just like eating cheese on the beach, and like they had great food, great culture, lots of good museums, but it was also like a nice break from like winter in London.
Fair
So, yeah.
enough. Yeah, lovely, lovely descriptive answer though.
Not very quick fire.
Subway or Greg's?
Sorry.
Subway or Greg's?
So
Do you have Greg's down south? I'm never sure if you do or not.
I'm gonna go with Greg's. I'm gonna go with Greg's,
good.
Oh.
and not because we've got to.
Okay, and finally, favorite football team? Are you into football?
No, I'm not, but I'm gonna have to say Bristol Rovers. So
Yeah, that concludes the quick fire question round.
28th of January at the Gunners Pub, and then we're presumably dropping the single that night or maybe the day before in order for people to learn the lyrics. We should probably figure out that.
getting the lyric sheet at the door.
Yeah.
Great. Well, I'm definitely going to recommend that everyone, if you can, go down and check them out. And that single, I'm buzzing to hear what people have to say about it. But yeah, thank you so much, guys, for joining us. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having us.